So I think that we have to be very cautious about how we analyze this new grouping. It's unclear to me if the Iranian naval commander, when announcing this alliance, if he was referring to something that is actually in place or will soon be in place, or if he was simply laying out his vision for what he would like to see. Now, to answer your question, if we assume that this is a real thing, it would be very significant for a number of reasons. One, I think that it would be seen as a clear indication that reconciliation between Iran and Saudi Arabia has come along quite well in the brief time since the Beijing mediated reconciliation accord between the Iranians and the Saudis. So the fact that you have, if you're talking about a new alliance involving Iran and Saudi Arabia, that's pretty significant progress with reconciliation. It would also certainly reflect, I think, a potential blow to both the United States and Israel, which of course are very bitter rivals of the Iranians and would not like to see Iran be in a position to be a part of something so expansive and potentially significant. And finally, if you're talking about a grouping that would involve India and Pakistan, which to me, quite frankly, beggars belief, then that would be a clear indication of progress in relations between India and Pakistan. But all that said, I think we have to be very cautious about how we assess this. My view is that this is something that really could not happen for a number of reasons, the main one being the India-Pakistan issue. India does not participate in any type of alliance. And for us to be talking about the notion of India participating in alliance with Pakistan, of all countries, it just defies, quite frankly, it defies common sense. So my view, my general view, based on what I know so far, is that this Iranian naval official was simply expressing his view of what he would like to see happen sometime in the coming years. Though I think it's a vision that's wildly idealistic and perhaps not very realistic. Well, I think again, it's a bit too early to making such assessments. I really am not in a position to comment on it at this point. I just think we have to be very cautious. But certainly, we should see that move, if it's true, as a reflection of some pretty significant changes in the geopolitics of the Middle East. I mean, certainly looking at the reconciliation accord between Iran and Saudi Arabia, looking at what appears to be a growing Chinese role in the region, and also one could argue as an evolving, if not diminishing, role of the United States in the broader region. I mean, the U.S. is not leaving the Middle East, but it's evolving its role in the region in the sense that it's not fighting wars in the region. Its reliance on energy in the Middle East has receded, but clearly it still wants to be a big part of the geopolitics of the region, and we see that through initiatives like I2U2. And the UAE is, of course, a very close ally of the United States, as most of the Gulf states, other than Iran, are. So I think that it's something to look at in the broader context of these very interesting geopolitical shifts in the region. Well, I think that one of the big consequences of the Saudi-Iranian rapprochement, assuming it holds, is that it provides more diplomatic space for countries like Pakistan that are seeking to balance their relations with the Saudis and Iranians, but have been, careful about that because of their strong ties with Saudi Arabia for many years. So if the rapprochement holds, I think that would allow Pakistan more space to try to deepen at commercial ties, at the least, with Iran. I mean, we've seen that over the years, Pakistan and Iran have had a fairly healthy, even robust commercial relationship. But Pakistan has held back because of it not wanting to antagonize Saudi Arabia, a key Pakistan ally. But if we assume that Saudi Arabia is now less uncomfortable about the likes of Pakistan engaging more heavily with Iran, that could offer some really helpful benefits for Pakistan, for sure. But I think more broadly, looking at this, Yeah, I think this is an era of U.S. China competition. That's one of the big storylines of international relations today. I think that we may be seeing the Middle East become a growing battleground for U.S. China competition. We talk about how that competition has played out in the Indo Pacific and East Asia, increasingly in South Asia, and now it appears to be moving west to the Middle East. I mean, it was a game changer for China to have mediated that deal between the Saudis and the Iranians. It's something that Washington likely would not have wanted to see, China mediating such a consequential accord. But we're starting to see the U.S. try to figure out how to ensure its own significant levels of influence in the region through the I2U2 initiative, which of course is a new Quad arrangement involving the U.S. along with the UAE, Israel, and India. And the U.S. is also exploring new types of connectivity arrangements meant to better link the Middle East to South Asia and specifically India. But China is very much in this game as well, and it seeks to strengthen relations with countries around that region, including Israel, and the countries that are in the I2U2, like UAE, and so it's just it's a very interesting time to be looking at how these great power competitions are playing out in different parts of the world, and certainly the Middle East, I think, is going to become a very interesting and certainly contested space for U.S. China competition.